Turkish airstrikes and artillery bombardment are targeting the defenses of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces as the Turkish army advances into northeast Syria. On some fronts, Turkish soldiers and their local allies, the opposition Syrian National Army, pushed a few kilometers deep, capturing several villages in mainly sparsely populated areas. The SDF is outgunned and outmanned by the second largest army in the NATO alliance, but Kurdish-led forces are putting up resistance, promising to make any battle long and hard. The flat terrain, however, will make it difficult to hold their ground in the face of heavy firepower.
The immediate focus of Turkey's air and ground operation is a 100-kilometer stretch of territory from the Syrian border town of Tel Abyad behind me to the border town of Ras Al Ain to the east. It is an area the U.S. military withdrew from earlier this week. It seems the Turkish army and its local allies want to secure rural areas before moving into towns.
International aid agencies are warning of an impending humanitarian disaster. They also warn of mass displacement. Turkish commanders say civilians and civilian infrastructure are not the targets of the campaign. Thousands of Syrians are already on the move, fleeing hostilities which are still largely confined to border areas. But the safe zone Turkey says it wants to create extends 480 kilometers along the border and 30 kilometers deep. Turkey says the operation is about getting rid of a security threat. It considers the Syrian Kurdish armed group, the YPG, which forms the backbone of the SDF, a terrorist organization. The Turks also want millions of refugees it is looking after to move to the safe zone.
For years, Syrians fled from Raqqa, Deir Zur and other areas. They fled from ISIL and the YPG. Turkey's province of Sanliurfa is home to 400,000 Syrians, and 125,000 of them live here in this Turkish border town. They need to be able to go home.
The West and Arab countries are not on board with Turkey's plan that some say will create demographic changes. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan hit back.
We have
3.6 million Syrian refugees in our country waiting to go back to their homes. The European Union, look at yourself. I repeat, at the moment you cannot call or define our operation as an invasion. Our job is easy. We could just open the doors and 2.6 million refugees, we will send them back to you.
Önce Suudi Arabistan'dan başlayacağım.
Saudi Arabia should look in the mirror. They put Yemen in this situation and look what's happening there. Tens of thousands of people are dying in Yemen. Saudi Arabia, you should talk about this first. You cannot criticize our operation. Also Egypt, you cannot talk at all. You are the murderer of democracy in your country.
Leaders of Turkey's government and military commanders haven't spelt out the scope of their campaign. Much may depend on planned talks between Erdogan and U.S. President Donald Trump next month. But the growing criticism of Turkey's actions in Syria is another battle the government in Ankara is facing. Zeina, Khodr, Al Jazeera, on the Turkey-Syria border.